Welcome everyone to this new session of an IRIS webinar. My name is Pierrick Delez. I'm Marketing Director of IRIS PNT. I would like to welcome all of you. Today's session is about seamless integrations into your business applications with IRISConnect. I'm joined today by Sam Trausnick, a colleague of mine, joining all the way from Florida, USA. Before giving him the floor, just some practicalities. The webinar will be about 45 minutes. You can do 45 minutes depending on your questions. And by the way, talking about questions, you're allowed to ask questions via the tab on the right-hand side of your screen. So don't hesitate to just push a question over there, and there will be a Q&A session in the end, at the end, and we will review some of those questions. Those questions that will not have been reviewed at the end or answered at the end will be taken offline with you. Also, we will also be asking questions to you via the polls. Also on the right-hand side of your screen, there is a polls tab that I will be using to just ask you some questions like I just did as a test. So yes, and also the session or the webinar here will be recorded. So the recording will be made available on irisdatacapture.com on our webinars page as soon as tomorrow. So the recording will be there, but also the slide deck that Sam will be presenting you. I think we are all set, Sam. Okay. The floor is yours.
Thanks. All right, Pierrick. Well, thanks for having me, guys, and welcome. All right. So today, those of you joining us, welcome. I'm really excited to share with you one of my favorite topics, which is integration. Today, we're going to discuss seamless integrations into your business application. So I really hope you guys get at least one thing out of that. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sam. I'm a senior business consultant for IRIS. I have a real special history with IRISConnect. I actually helped create the QuickBooks connector, and most recently, I oversaw the production of our Laserfish connector. I've been with the company for over 5 years, and I love what I do. I get the pleasure of meeting new people and helping businesses overcome their challenges. I'm extremely interested in automation, and I'm excited to share today with you guys how IRIS can help you digitally transform your business processing using that integration. IRIS has been in the industry for over 30 years. We know a lot about certain pain points that businesses have and have to overcome. We have two products in particular that use advanced capture. The first is IRIS PowerScan, which is a high-speed client using zonal capture. The second is going to be IRIS Extract, a sophisticated extraction and classification software which uses free text capture. These act as a data and file source for IRISConnect to pass off. Essentially, they have to be passed off because the data and documents can't stay or reside in Extract. All right, Extract and PowerScan are not backend systems, so nothing can be stored here. Our IRISConnect will allow us to connect to your business application and facilitate this transition. IRISConnect is a single or standalone framework which connects IRIS solutions to a wide range of third-party ECM and CRM systems, both on-prem or in the cloud. IRISConnect allows you to export the data and documents you process into your solution. All right, this is what we use to support our integrations with. Think for an example, let's say a perfect employee for a second, okay? So with that perfect employee, they don't take days off, they don't misspell or place files in the wrong location. Well, using integration, we can handle this for you. You see, integration isn't just about merging two systems It's about figuring out new ways to function seamlessly. IRISConnect will allow you to leverage all logic captured from documents with integration into your business application. In this session today, we're going to review some of these examples on how that works, okay? So we're always trying to improve ways we connect to your business application. We have a wide variety of connectors to choose from. IRISConnect currently includes specific connectors and generic connectors, like CMIS gateways. But most importantly, IRISConnect provides intelligent entry automation. Now, let's talk about the setup. The setup is quick to do, and once you've done it, you don't have to do it again. Straightforward. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to log in or set up the secure connection. Second, we'll go ahead and locate our repositories in which we want to pass the data or transfer the files over to. And thirdly, we're going to then map those fields if we want to pass data over. Now, in between step 2 and step 3, we also have the opportunity of placing rules or conditions. And this is going to allow for a little bit more intelligence to make sure that we're ensuring security to taking the data or files from extract or PowerScan into your end business application. So let's kind of see what this whole thing looks like here. All right, so here's an overview of how we process documents into your system. All right, docs are imported using emails, scanners, or digital files. They're processed. And then they're going to be exported out using our IRISConnect, seamlessly delivering exactly what you need into your business application. So let's talk about some popular business applications. Here are some of those popular business applications which we integrate with. But for today, we're actually just going to focus on 4 of these. So one important note to take away, though, is today's overview is not going to be focused on these applications themselves, but rather how we work with it, and we'll focus on the values provided from intelligent entry of these data and documents. So here's how it's going to work. We're first going to review the documents in either extract or PowerScan. Then we'll export, we'll review it in the DMS or ERP of topic. And we're going to do this for each integration we're covering today. Remember, all of this can actually be set to automatic. So in a real life scenario, you might not necessarily even be seeing any of these fields, okay? Thus seamlessly integrating into your business application. So let's get started with our first connector. Therefore requirements for on-premise solutions include the therefore client, a valid user account with permissions. Therefore online requirements include therefore client or a valid URL, valid user accounts with permissions, and obviously internet access. Now let's cover some of these features. So many of these features we provide with our integration include customizable path navigation, folder file naming capabilities, category mappings, field mappings, line items, intelligent workflows, file options, and PDF options, including compression. All right, now with the tables, these are very robust and work seamlessly with extract into therefore. So very, very, very powerful and great to use. Additionally, our PDF options include our patented IHQC technology, which can compress PDFs up to 50 times smaller than their original size. One of the features I like best about this connector is its ability to route specific workflows based off of discoveries that IRIS found. Let's say, for example, we have a vendor that's maybe between A through M, and the manager 1 is to handle those in its workflow. Manager 2 handles vendors N through Z. Well, IRIS can go ahead and figure that out and then route that into therefore with the appropriate workflow. Therefore tables also are great, and they're populated by extract and are quite impressive. One of the best values added is going to be when you have a document of, let's say, 10 or plus line items that you have to manually still put into therefore. Well, IRIS can go ahead and do that for you. So let's quickly take a look at one of those examples here. So I mentioned 10 a second ago, but in this example, we're actually going to look at about 50, almost 50 line items, 49 here. So here we have this invoice that we need to get into to therefore. Now, putting something like this in, you can imagine can take quite some time, all right? Especially if you're actually interested in the part number, the actual product name itself, and then the information regarding the amounts and quantity of each. Okay, so what we've done is here inside of Iris Extract and Verify, we have our header fields which are captured, and we also have the line items all captured here on both pages. So as you see right here, this already is going to be relieving a lot of that work for you, okay? And letting therefore still power the rest of this workflow that needs to maybe take place associated to this invoice. All right, so before we can commit this out, I also want to just show one other thing. You'll notice we have stuff over here to the right, which is actually categorizing the spirit that we're actually capturing. And notice that it changes right here, but it's not even on the document. So this is already getting this information before we pass it to therefore, can already make using it inside of therefore that much more of a powerful in terms of its workflow and an understanding of this value. So let's go ahead and copy and, commit this job. We're going to pass this on over into therefore. So typically when we do these exports, it's going to take a couple seconds. It can range from 10, 15, 20 seconds. Yes.
Sam, we have a question from Christopher. Can you do with existing electronic documents and not just starting with paper?
Yes, absolutely. So we can do this with existing digital documents or even emails that just get sent right into your inbox. So good question, Christopher. So let's see, here's this star, which shows this is its recent entry. And if we open this up, here we're going to go ahead and find all 50 of those or 49 of those line items which have been provided in. So, looking at something like this, this is where you can see that in a matter of a couple seconds, I was able to take something that was captured and populate all of this in without me having to do anything else to it. So nothing manual. All right, so let's go ahead and cover our next connector. Okay, our next connector is going to be QuickBooks, and particularly QuickBooks Desktop. So the requirements with QuickBooks include the QuickBooks SDK. All right, that's that, and having a QuickBooks installed is all you're going to need. Now, features do include automatically writing bills, writing credit memos, and statements. We can do line items to transactions, or just entering the transaction itself without all of the items involved. All right. It also can protect from duplicate invoices and also works with closed books. So we avoid entering anything that was in that closed session. Now, for those of you who are familiar with QuickBooks, you know how easy it can be. You also know how picky or stubborn certain things could be, and fighting with those parts in QuickBooks. Our integration is going to remove these struggles. Okay, no longer do you need to do the laborious copying and pasting of index values, resulting in erroneous data, and it's going to improve the quality of the QuickBooks data you're putting in. It's going to write that faster, and hopefully standardize that process so that way you know what to expect when Iris is either scanning in or you're importing digital files or emails of your bills or credits memos into QuickBooks. But it's one thing to point out here is that this is not a DMS system, okay? This is an accounting ERP. So there are going to be some differences between this one and the rest of the connectors that we're showing today, which are DMS applications. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look, shall we? So here we have an example of a document that we've brought in to IRISConnect. This is an invoice, and this invoice needs to get put into our QuickBooks desktop. Now, right off the bat, we do see that this one already exists in QuickBooks. So let's just go ahead and say that we need to change the name. So that way we can go ahead and pass in a new invoice into our system. So we're just going to call it IRISConnect for now, if I can get that spelling correct. So you'll see that we've collected our fields. We've recognized, the customer and who the service is related to. We even have some line items involved for this transaction, and so we have a couple entries of service here. Okay, and let's go ahead and commit this job into QuickBooks and see what it looks like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop over to our vendors. And let's take a look at what we got. So right now I'm actually in the IRIS company. So what's cool is we can actually do this for multiple companies. So for me, and that last one, what I was doing is I'm actually meaning to pass this into let's say a dummy service company file. So I'm actually going to go ahead and switch over to this company file, which has all kinds of just different dummy data for us. So that way we don't have to do any of this entry ourselves here. Okay, so here we have our, let's see, our active vendors and all vendors. So this was a Robinson Mason. Okay, so what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to go back, take one step back, and I'm going to repass this one in. As we see, I have not found my IRISConnect invoice yet.
You do that, Sam. I'm going to ask some questions to our audience and via the poll tab. So that would be, if you can answer that question, would be great. What is your favorite IRISConnect solution? Accounts payable, purchase orders, capture solution, digital mailroom, which is both document classification and data capture, hybrid forms, and document converter. It would be nice to see who works with what solution. The moment I can see that accounts payable is in the lead, 78, 80% with accounts payable. Digital mailroom is second.
Good, good. Well, if for those of you who do like accounts payable and you do have a QuickBooks system with your accounts payable, we can actually then do this connected over into your QuickBooks. I'm going to hop in here for a quick second, Pierre. I can go ahead and show you guys. We were able to route this in now that I have the company open, which I was trying to route this file for. You'll see that we have the invoice number, which I had changed over here. And you guys will also see that we have all of our services instantly put in for us, okay? So in summary, this is going to be how your QuickBooks works, okay? Instant integration. All right, so let's go ahead and hop over to our third connector. Our third connector today is going to be SharePoint. One of the features I like best about this connector to SharePoint is that the use of Office 365 using things like the Power Automation flows that they have available for it. Really, really, really powerful stuff. Real quickly, the requirements that we're going to cover here, you do have to have SharePoint. as an account, and you do have to have a valid user account with granted permissions to be able to write into SharePoint. All right, so we'll then use those user as the login information to pass that data over. In terms of features, much like the rest of our DMS systems, we do offer customizable path navigation capabilities, folder file naming capabilities, folder subfolder customization, your standard field mappings, of course, and file options. Again, you have your PDF, including compression options, and again, Microsoft Flow Ready capabilities. So if you are an Office 365 user, IRISConnect for SharePoint is the easiest and fastest way to send files with data and indexes into that repository. So if you need like an Excel sheet or PDFs put automatically into SharePoint, this connector is going to be perfect for you, and it's what you need. All right, IRISConnect is going to streamline these processing of inputting files with data into SharePoint. So let's go ahead and take a look, shall we? So the file we're going to go ahead and pull from IRISExtract today that's going to go into SharePoint is going to be a financial document. All right, so we have a lot of important information over here, and we have an account in SharePoint that maybe, let's say, has a flow that's already built that maybe needs to go, it needs to take that PDF, and it's going to need to, notify, let's say, the person associated who's handling this account, in this case, which would be private equity. So they need to receive the notification that this is available and made available to them to look at. So we see that everything is in here is fine. So let's go ahead and pass this over. Now, I'm going to go ahead and hop into my SharePoint account. And let's see if I can go ahead and sign in.
Sam, it's great that you do everything live. So
I know it's not as cinematic, but I just want to make sure that users who are watching are able to know that we're not just trying to dummy any of this data up. So it looks like it was trying to take into my work account, but I'm going to re-sign in using my side account here.
Yeah, and I don't want to distract you. Maybe you should check your caps lock.
No, the caps lock is off. However, I think that my, I'm using the wrong screen name, so let me just do a double check.
That's a risk when we do live demos with third-party applications.
Actually, so the funny thing is I know this went through because it didn't stop, but that's the vectors. Let's do it one more time. So I'm going to go hop back on this one because I don't want to sit here and make everybody waste their time on it. But what I will do is in our PDF, I will go ahead and show you what that application part does look like once I've logged into the system And if we do have some questions, what I'll do is I'll just hop back and be able to share my screen once I've logged into my currently locked out account. So let's go ahead and move forward if that's okay with you, Pierre. And we'll just move forward here. Our fourth and final connector that we're going to do is Laserfish. Laserfish is actually our most recent connector that we made. And it was a lot of fun to work with in terms of putting this one together. Its requirements do include the SDK runtime. If you're using the on-prem, you need the Laserfish server and SSL certification. In terms of the Laserfish cloud requirements, you're going to need the SDK runtime, like the one before, and you're going to need the cloud account, all right? And let's not forget internet access. So in terms of the features, we have customizable path navigation, folder file naming, template mapping, which also include the field mappings, your file options, including PDFs, multicultural text layers for the PDF writings, modular workflow entry design, and teletags, email separation or email attachment separations, and it is line item capable, okay? So now imagine all of that functionality being handled by a perfect employee. Well, you can expect those and you can get those perfect results. All right, so when we created this, we really wanted to make sure that, we were already doing, we didn't just take over what Laserfish already does so greatly, but we wanted to be able to automate from the starting point what the business needs to begin that process. Okay, so that's where those features came into play. One of the things that I like best about this connector is how well IRISConnect and PowerScan work together. Features like IntelliTags can help recovery organization with immediate access fast. Okay, so anytime you put something in and you're able to look it up, you can use those IntelliTags to instantly find where it is that came from. We've added a lot of nice features to really improve this already DMS, as I mentioned before, with this connector. So it's really going to help save time, okay, with automating documents into it, and it's going to remove that need of manually entering data and files in, okay? So let's take a look. Okay, so for our last one here with Laserfish, we've got a couple different documents that were scanned in, let's say from a scanner or possibly digital files. And as you see this particular scenario, we're going to assume that we're in the HR department and we just scanned some sheets through for maybe employees. All right, so what we want to do is bridge that gap between here and Laserfish and pass that through. So let's go ahead and process these documents, shall we? So notice that this first two documents is going to be an I-9 and a W-4 from what appears to be the legendary Chuck Norris. Okay, we're going to have another I-9 brought in, and then we will have an ID card made as well. So as we come into our Laserfish repository, here we're going to go ahead and hop into our human resources and go over to our employee files. Okay, so here you're actually going to go ahead and see that we have a lot of different employees. So one of the cool things that Extract's going to do here is it's going to go ahead and start taking those employees, and as you just saw, it went ahead and built and created a whole new folder for this particular employee, Chuck Norris, because who shouldn't hire Chuck Norris, right? So again, we already have the I-9 form which was brought in, all right, and we also have OCR. OCR some index values which we can pull. So let's take a look at what that is. See, so here we have that, and we have our first name, last name, and for safety purposes, we don't want to share Chuck Norris's social security number because let's just say this guy pays attention to things. All right, and again, you'll have your actual PDF attached as well. Okay, so this is just one example of it, and we can stay and wait for the rest of all of these to be built, but I just want to make sure that it is clear on how all of that works, okay? So, moving back, that wraps up our fourth connector. which actually will bring us into our Q&A time.
Okay, thank you very much, Sam. We have a question here. Could you use this connector to automatically take files from a shared network drive into SharePoint?
Can you repeat that again? There was a little bit of a break.
Could you use this connector to automatically take files from a shared network drive into SharePoint?
Yes. Yes, you can.
How easy it is then?
So what we're going to do is we're going to map Iris, the front end part of it, whether it's PowerScan or Extract, and we would take that and we would then use and set up the IRISConnect for the export. We would then, in the IRISConnect, map that repository inside of SharePoint where you needed it to go and paste it there. So anytime the documents would then come in to that directory, it would be imported in. Now, we do not import from SharePoint. All right, so I do want to make sure that is clear. Okay, so just an export out. Okay,
good, thank you. Next question, how much time is added to implementation?
Good question. So for these, the 4 connectors that we've covered today, and for most typical connectors that we offer these business application integrations with, the purpose is to not really actually change the amount of days and time that it is involved with implementation. In fact, if anything, we've gone ahead and removed a lot of that for you, so you don't have to do all of those labor-intensive integration parts. So it does not really take too much time. I do want to make sure that it is clear, though, this is outside of whatever your implementation that has already been set up is. So, but we were not going to add any more to it.
Okay. Good. Another question: does IRIS support those dedicated connectors?
Yes, we do support those connectors. So we have, in terms of the capabilities with these connectors, all 4 of these, which I showed you, are backwards compatible. Okay, so which means if newer versions do come out, these connectors will still work. However, that being said, we do some updates as well from time to time with our connectors when we do add new features and things like that. In terms of backup and support, by that means, yes, the help desk, and we do offer support for issues arising as well.
Okay, good. Question from Peter. I've heard that you have also IRISConnect Toolbox. What is it?
So Iris Toolbox is a connector that we use, which is, think of it like a universal connector. And what it's going to do is allow us to actually integrate into a lot of other platforms. Okay, so while today we went over a bunch of the common popular applications, some of these do also, we could also have done that via our Iris Toolbox as well.
Okay. Question from Eric: do you do integration with SAP Business One?
So we do have a list of SAP ones that we do integrate with. In terms of the Business One version of SAP, I would have to double check. I do not believe, at least here in the US, that we do have that. Okay. There's also HANA. I think that one is we do connect to with SAP, but I will have to double check that, and we'll put that in our follow-up notes to give you that confirmation, but not to my knowledge.
Okay, thanks. For the business applications that we covered today, can you use any fields? So
with the DMS ones that we've covered, yes, because you can create just about any kind of field that you want in your in-system for document management systems. In terms of ERPs, you're really limited to what fields exist in that ERP. So no for the ERPs. However, typically you're already just extracting the information relevant to what it is you want in your ERP anyways. So we don't need to make new fields outside of that content.
Okay.
So good question.
Yeah, question from Sam. Obviously not you, I guess.
You never know.
Is IRISConnect a product or an add-on or a feature included in both IRIS PowerScan and IRIS Extract?
So it is, in terms of PowerScan, we do have it as an add-on in terms of you get one add-in built or add-on with PowerScan. Any additional ones outside or after that, you do have to buy another connector for. And the same to be said with IRIS Extract.
Okay. Another question is IRISConnect for SharePoint, IRISConnect from IRIS PowerScan to SharePoint the same as IRISConnect from IRIS Extract to SharePoint?
Yes, it is. The only difference is going to be the, that like line items into SharePoint would Extract is the only one that does and handles line item capturing. So it would just be header values.
Okay, very good. I would start a last poll and then close this interesting webinar. It's about the connectors that you would like, that you would need the most as partners or customers. I just published the poll. What connector do you need most? SharePoint, therefore Laserfish, SAP, QuickBooks, Exact or other, and please, if you mention other, if you click on other there, we will get back to you to ask you what is the business application you have in mind to follow up on this conversation. So by saying that, I would like to thank you all for your participation today. If you have more questions, please don't hesitate to log in and to go on irisdatacapture.com. There is a contact page. Also, you would never hesitate to contact your sales contact, your BDM, to ask more questions about IRISConnect and all IRIS products and solutions. You will have the recording of this session and the slide deck in a PDF format tomorrow on the website. You can see it on the right-hand side of your screen here, past webinars replays. We put all our webinars replays on the website the day after. So everything is there with the slide deck and also some interesting links. With that, I would like to thank you all for your participation and see you next time on June 10th, obviously, for a discussion about the hybrid experience. Right? Thank you very much. See you next time.
Thanks, guys. Bye.